And good morning, good evening, wherever you may be, around the nation, around the world, or in your bed, or under your couch, or hiding from the ghost. You are listening to the Supernatural Realm on WCET.FM. Also, we are on Saturdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on .com. You can find us on Stitcher, Podbean, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Chip, you there, buddy?
I sure am, brother, and happy to be here today, especially today. Boy, I say this every week, the magic of Tim Roxbury finds the greatest guests. Today, certainly no exception, and the perfect time. I mean, the absolute perfect time to have this gentleman on. I even know this guy. He's been on my show, shameless self-promotion, Kindness Beyond the Veil, which is on this very network here Mondays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, Kindness Beyond the Veil. What a wonderful show that is. This is a wonderful show, too, because we have the great host, Tim Roxbury, the very chatty co-host, Chip Reichenthal, and Timmy finds the greatest guests. But today, we have somebody that I've known for years. And yes, I'm bragging. He's been on my current show twice, but he's been on every radio show that I've had, really since the beginning.
Cool.
And Timmy, as well as our beloved listeners here, that, Chip is on his personal path to ascension. That doesn't make him refer to himself in the third person, but it's a beautiful thing. And I got my inspiration for this path to ascension from our guest today, a good friend of Timmy's and mine. And he's our honored guest, and his name is Danny Searle. And we are thrilled that Danny Searle is here today. Now, Danny has some phenomenal books out, by the way, including Ascension, a step-by-step guide, and The Truth Chronicles, Secrets of the Soul, The Truth Chronicles, Secrets of the Illuminati, and more in the works. Plus, on YouTube, his channel Path to Ascension was an inspiration for me. It's been that way for years. This guy is amazing. He knows about soul ages, like, are you an old soul? Are you a young soul? He would know. This is the guy. On my show, Kindness Beyond the Veil. Oh boy, I'm self-promoting today. But in my theme, I mentioned that there is no good and evil in an animal kingdom. There's no good and evil in the plant kingdom. I got that information from Danny Searle. He inspired me to live that. And, life has been phenomenal, really, since I came across his path. And so I am super proud to announce that with us today, ladies and gentlemen, and Timmy, the fabulous Danny Searle is here. And, at the perfect time, because over the weekend, we had the 111 Gateway. It was January 11th, right? There was the 111 Gateway. But this particular gateway was no slouch because we had a full moon and a lunar eclipse on that day. And on the East Coast, we got this burst of ascension energy that landed in central Australia near Uluru, formerly Ayers Rock, right? I think we talked about that last week too, but that's in Danny's neck of the woods, because he lives in Brisbane in Queensland, Australia, and thankfully he's safe, thank God, because we have been saying a lot of prayers for him. But this burst of ascension energy that really hit in central Australia had been predicted from the Aborigines since dream time. And that's like eons ago. This was something that should have manifested thousands of years ago, but it hits now. And it hits now as we are having this Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn. It's just, there is just so much energy out there. It is all ascension based, and there couldn't be a more ideal time to have Danny Searle here on Supernatural Realm, Timmy, and I'm excited about that. But I'm going to jump back now, breathe a little, turn it over to you, my friend, as we welcome Danny Searle to Supernatural Realm, Timmy.
Hi, Daniel. How are you doing this evening? Or in your case,
Yeah,
early
great.
morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here as usual. Yeah, thank you.
It's wonderful.
So, how did you get involved with this path of ascension? What was your motivation?
Okay, well, it actually started when I was about 6 years old. um,
Wow.
Around 6 years old, I started having what people now would call psychic events or visions, things like that. It sort of petered down a little bit until I was 14. I had my first out-of-body experience, but that wasn't like I didn't do it on purpose. It just happened, right? I didn't know at the time what was happening, and so that was a big learning curve. And then about 21, 22 years old, by then I'd had some formal training, I guess, in divinatory, in reading tarot cards and scrying and reading auras. And so I already had some background by then. And it was at that stage where basically, long story short, my spirit guide showed up in the middle of the night and took me out of body and then took me back into the spirit world, every level of the spirit world, and showed me everything, and I mean everything, and then some. And then where the ascension part comes into it, that's always been in the background, right? But it was never in the fore until, I guess, just before 2012. I'd known about it. I was talking about it, but it wasn't front and center on my agenda yet because it was just too far out. But then when 2012 came, I had a visit from Palladians, and they basically said, "Hey, drop everything. It's time to get ready. Right? This is going down." Right? And so that's when I started the YouTube channel, just probably in 2010, 2011, leading up because I knew 2012 was coming. And of course, I was only one of the few people on YouTube saying 2012 is not the end of the world. It's not going to.
I was there. I can
up.
vouch for that. I was there when you were saying that. I can vouch for that.
But it was the beginning. It was the beginning because a new doorway was opening, new consciousness was opening up, right? And we see it. We can literally see it now. You think back to pre-2012, no one was talking about this stuff. Hardly anyone was, right? There wasn't shops and websites and things like that, books and whatnot. And since 2012, people have been coming out of the woodwork. This thing has exploded, and it's gone viral. And that's because of the big consciousness shift. But if I can keep talking for just 1 second,
Sure.
Chip brought up something that is absolutely on the money. I've got some very interesting stuff to explain.
Cool.
So about this Saturn-Pluto conjunction, the full moon, Uluru is in the centre of Australia, where all this happened. Now, what I did, I've been talking about the Schumann's resonance for as long as I've been talking about anything, right?
Yep.
And I've always maintained that you got to watch the Schumann resonance to figure out when the ascension is coming, right? Because it goes up by the Fibonacci sequence, right? The spiral of Fibonacci. Anyway, so I've been watching the Schumann's resonance, and this is something everyone out there can go and look up for themselves. There's a Russian space weather site. They're the only ones that capture Schumann's resonance, measure it, and put it into these beautiful charts that are easy to read, right? So what we've seen, don't forget, this is a 3-day event, that this conjunction happened over. What we see on the Schumann's resonance will blow your mind. So everyone knows that Schumann's resonance base frequency is around 7.85 hertz, right? Let's just call it 8 hertz, around 8 hertz. So you look on this chart, you see it, a straight line going across, there's your base frequency. But for the first time in, I don't know how many years, there's 2 new lines, 2 new frequencies.
Ooh.
They're only faint, one of them. So you've got your base frequency, which is very obvious. You can see it a mile away. Then you've got another higher one that's sort of faded, but it's still visible, right? Then above that, you've got a higher frequency again that's just visible. You can see it. It's like a very thin line. So what that means is the base frequency is where Joe Blow is, right? That's average, normal people, just they're there.
Right.
The next one are those that are looking to get on the path, or they're destined to be on the path, but they're not quite there yet, right? But they're aware of it, but they're not walking the walk.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got the final line. That's the people on their ascension path, walking the walk. That's the star seeds, what we call the star seeds, right? They're there. But hang on, now I'm getting to the big point.
Okay.
On the third day of this conjunction, there is looks like an explosion of light that merges all 3 lines in one big giant glowing blob, right? That appears on the Schumann resonance at exactly the same time as they activated Uluru. So
No
there you
kidding.
go.
Wow.
No kidding. Go and look it up. I'm not making this up. This is all there for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want proof that this thing is real, this is a scientific site. Like when they make these charts, they're not looking for Ascension. They don't know what it is. They're saying, oh, what the hell's this? We don't know what this is. And I'm sitting there going, I know exactly what it is, right? So there you go. For all the naysayers, there's your proof. That's it. It's happening. It started. Game on.
Wow. So it's someplace in Russia that's monitoring this then.
Yep.
So
yep.
we
I'll
can
send you
say
the link.
without. Okay, cool. Because we can say without getting into any kind of mischief at all. Russia, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
that's
anyone
human
to take
residence,
this serious.
baby.
Yeah, but they were talking about Nibiru on national TV 10 years ago, you know, and they were talking about UFOs 20 years ago. They're very open about this stuff. They're the only ones that take it serious. There's now an Italian site that's mirroring the Russian site. So Italy's now on board with it. They're now, you know, putting it out there. So, look, they can't hide this forever.
Wow. Yeah. Now, did you also look at the solar particles? Because there's some charts, too, that monitor the amount of solar energy. Because the sun is supposedly in its quiet phase. And for a sun being in its quiet phase, we're getting pounded. I mean, really for the last year and a half especially, but really, and like the piece about Uluru said, around October 19th, the shift really started changing, this new energy shift. But, you know, so did the newspaper articles about Nibiru or extraterrestrials, you know. It's a lot more, I mean, just really out there. You've got astronauts talking about it in the open now, you know, retired government officials not afraid to come out and talk about these things. You've got physicists that were the biggest cynics in the world, you know, singing to the choir now, you know. So it just seems like it's a bit different. But with the solar particles, and there is a tie-in, I think, to the grand central sun with this energy that hit us on the 12th. 12th in your neck of the woods is still technically the 11th here on the 111 gateway, you know. But about the solar particles, and do you think that might be linked also?
Well, the great central sun is where all the information comes from. It uses the stars, right, the solar system stars, to disseminate the info. It comes from the great central sun through a network into the suns, and each sun then projects that out into its solar system, and each planet is bathed in the information or data or whatever you want to call it, the resonance. Yeah, so definitely. But the sun's very active at the moment. It's not in the quiet phase. It's very active.
No, I know, right? Yeah. Because I'm sensitive to that kind of stuff, and, you know.
Yeah. So there has been a lot of sunspots, and when we see sunspots, they generally mean you're going to get mass coronal ejections. So there's been a lot of chatter on the internet. Most of them are the doom and gloom people. They're saying, oh, we're going to get hit by a CME. That's nonsense. We're not, right? Again, I've got another image. I can't show you at the moment, but I should get access to it to make it public soon. There's a picture of the sun taken by government satellites, right? And there's this huge, and I mean huge, craft just out from the sun. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact it's a Palladian craft, right? Because in 1973, there was a massive mass coronal ejection was supposed to hit the Earth, and it would have wiped everything out. Earth would have gone back to medieval, right, living. And the Palladians diverted it. And I didn't know how they did it. I just was told they diverted it. Now I've seen the picture. So this massive craft, and it's really visible. Like it's not, you know, it's not a camera flare. It's an obvious craft sitting just outside the sun, and it's literally positioned there to block or divert any coronal mass ejections that are coming out from the sun. Wow. And the reason is, I don't know if we went into this earlier, but probably a couple of months ago, 30,000 Palladian light ships came out of a wormhole that's in the sun, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I published the pictures. They're on my YouTube, my Facebook
page.
Yeah, right. So what happened with that? They were coming to stop the 5G. They weren't coming to save humans, and they made that very clear. They weren't happy with humans at that point. And because of this 5G business, which is a reptilian technology, right? So the reptilians had an artificial wormhole they created behind the moon. That's why we can't go to the dark side of the moon, because it's controlled by the Draconians.
I always wondered that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they keep shooting down everything we send around there. They just shoot it down. Same with Phobos and Mars. You know, every time they'd send something to Mars, that big telephone pole thing would be the last thing the camera would see coming at it, you know, this big missile. Yeah. Anyway, so when the Pleiadians got here, the Draconians were using this wormhole to get to Earth. Where they get to on Earth from there is CERN. That's why CERN is there, right? The Large Hadron Collider thing. That's really a wormhole that they created. And they built this negative grid around the planet. So think of it like a literal prison planet, the Draconians did, to trap human consciousness into this fear mentality, right?
Wow,
To stop
it's working too. They must be so happy because it's working great.
Well, anyway, so what was happening is the Palladians were coming here, as I said, to block the 5G, to shut that down, because that's an extinction level event, right? And at the same time, they were shutting down the wormhole, the artificial wormhole, to stop the Draconians or the lizard people to get here. And then they were dismantling their negative grid, and they were building a brand new positive consciousness grid, right? And protection grid. And that's the other reason why we're not going to get hit by a CME, is because they're going to all this work putting this new grid up. They ain't going to let it happen, right?
Excellent. No. Thank you, Palladian.
Yeah. And again, if you want to see evidence of this, it was posted on one of those weather watcher sites where they were all freaking out, hair on fire, saying, oh my God, there's a hole in the magnetosphere around the planet, right? So you see the magnetic field around the Earth, and it looked like there was a hole in it. And the radiation's coming in and everything. And these people, because these are science people, these are not, you know, about this stuff.
Yeah, the last thing that they even think about would be draconian.
So they're freaking out. Yeah, they're freaking out, going, oh my God, we've never seen this before. What's this? What's going to happen? Is the world going to blow up? And I really wanted to reach out to them and say, no, actually, that's not the magnetic sphere. That's the Palladian grid that they're still in the process of building, right? And that's what you're picking up with your cameras, your imaging. They're literally imaged the part construction of the Palladian grid, right? And, you know, so again.
Now that you mention it, because we were in New York City when they did that to the Statue of Liberty, you know, they had all that gridding up and around it. Hey, I got to... Timmy actually sent me a question psychically, so I'm going to start with the first half of the question. Based on something that Timmy posted on Facebook, I think recently, like just last week, there is this star somewhere nearby, and nearby is a very general concept, where it looks like there's construction all around this sun.
Or
and Timmy wanted to know if that's all related.
No.
See?
No, I know what you're talking about. That was a theory by these NASA scientists that did a TED Talk, and when I used that TED Talk to debunk it, I got a strike against my channel.
Seriously?
Because they really don't. Oh, seriously, yeah, don't you? And it was a 40-minute video, and it was 4 minutes of a TED Talk just to show what they're talking about, what you were just talking about, Tim.
Yeah.
Basically what it was, just quickly, they had citizen scientists, right? People with the internet access could access these telescopes, and they were monitoring different parts of the sky. And what they found in this one part of the sky, there was this anomaly. And basically what I showed it to be was all the rocks and debris and, you know, stuff that Nibiru was pushing out in front of it.
Right.
And they tried to explain it away by this ridiculous thing that it was a big giant alien structure around a star or something.
Okay. Right. I'm just happy they didn't say weather balloon, you know.
They did say alien structure.
Well, it was up there. No, well, I said in my video, it was up there with swamp gas. It literally was up there with swamp gas. Yeah. I mean,
That's-
what's more realistic? A giant planet that's coming in and pushing out debris and stuff in front of it because of the, great gravity that
Hey,
it's got,
Daniel.
or a giant, alien structure to suck the life out of a star. I
Daniel.
mean, what's more reasonable?
Yeah. There's a lot of swamp gas in Washington, D.C. right now.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
this.
that can be monitored
Still.
around the universe, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody on a habitable planet like 8.5 billion light years away is going,
Swamp
look
gas.
at that gas around Washington.
That must be affecting their brains or something. Swamp gas.
It's affecting all of our brains, I think.
Yeah.
And the draconians are very happy because we're all scared half to death with this stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's who this New World Order people take their orders from, basically. That's who they're getting their directives from, the Draconians. But they'll be gone soon. I'm telling you that right now. As we speak, there's a pitched battle between Palladians and Draconians going on as we speak.
Wow. So are the reptilians just standing by, or are they siding with Draconians, or just, like, not us?
Do you think
the Draconians are the reptilians.
are they is there reptilians living among us? You believe?
Yeah, absolutely there is.
Mm.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. Whatsoever.
Some of them are probably running the government too.
We've got friends that are reptilian, Tim. Charmaine, our friend Charmaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-confessed. Yeah, she's a sweetheart, though. I will say that.
Well, to maintain human, I know this will sound way out there to a lot of people, but trust me on this. To maintain human form, they basically drink, blood, children's blood, and adrenochrome. That's where all that comes into it. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. I talk about it because I talk about everything. Right?
Oh yeah, you're perfect for this show, Daniel. You're
You got to
perfect.
know everything. So what's happened also with all that sort of stuff? So all the people that have basically, you would say sold their soul to the devil. Well, they didn't sell the soul to the devil. The devil doesn't exist. But what they did sell their soul to is a guy called Pindar, which is like the head of the Draconians. He's like the exalted emperor of the Draconians, Pindar. That is the devil, if you want to call it that, right? That's who these people bow down to. That's who they get their orders from. And those people are promised long life and, like, really long life. I mean, they're told they'll live to 600-700 years old, longer, 1,000 years old. But to do so, they've got to take this adrenochrome. And adrenochrome is a hormone that's released by the human brain during periods of extreme stress. So
that's why they like us afraid.
Yeah. Well, then they torture people and get them to that point where they're just about to freak out. They're just about to have a mental breakdown because they're so afraid and traumatized. At that point, they're ritually killed and the adrenochrome is extracted from them, and then it's put into little bottles. And it used to sell for about $2,000 a bottle.
Wow.
Since the Trump organization got in and started shutting down the factories and shutting down the rings that are doing this, the price has now jumped up to $25 million per vial of about 10 mils. And this is why you're seeing certain celebrities, I'm not going to name names, but you can probably look them up, who have, in the last 2 years, they've gone from looking beautiful to looking like reanimated corpses. And this is some very famous people, all right?
Right.
Because suddenly they can't afford to buy their
It's
adrenochrome
expensive.
anymore, right?
And they don't look out of place, especially in Hollywood.
Is that why they're trying? Is that why they're trying to impeach Trump?
Yes. Well, among other things. Yeah. Because Trump is very bad for business, for the Illuminati. Really bad for business. And he's shutting down all the pedophile rings. He's shutting down all the trafficking. That hurts them financially, like you have no idea. But not just financially, it hurts them in their ritualistic sense. They can't do their rituals. This is the priest class, the Illuminati are the priest class. And I'm not talking about Catholic priests or Baptist priests. These are occultish priests, right? Occult priests, very high up, very powerful too. Don't fall into the trap thinking, oh, they're a joke. Oh, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
They got there because they're very powerful wizards, right? Very powerful magicians. That's what they are.
Yeah, like
And
Alistair, the guy was with
Alistair Crowley.
Crowley, yeah.
He's
Back
their
in
pin-up
Hitler's time.
boy. Yeah, he's their pin-up boy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I
They
mean,
love
he was out there with it. No, I mean, he was.
Yeah,
he
but
was-
what Crowley did was he actually shortcutted the ability to invoke a demon. Once upon a time, it would take, even Crowley, it originally used to take him 5 to 6 days. It was exhausting, and it was just too long to invoke a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did, he went out into the desert. He got the information from a grey alien, of all things, right? And who were enslaved by the Draconians, just quietly at that point, right? And so he gets this instructions on how to basically invoke a demon almost at will, within an hour. And so he created the textbook on that and how to do it, and that changed the ball game for them. That's why they exalted him. They just thought he's the greatest being they ever had. And so one of his proteges, his apprentice, believe it or not, was Jack Parsons. And who's
Really?
Jack Parsons? Well, he founded the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, i.e. NASA. So this is why when I call NASA means, never a straight answer, that's why. Because NASA is the military tied in with the Illuminati, essentially, right? That's what it is. And you look at all their badges on the NASA things, it's really occult. Each mission they would have a badge.
Mm-hmm.
They have got these hardcore occult symbols on there.
Mm-hmm.
How people didn't see that, I don't know. Or they didn't want to see that, I don't know. But, you get all these diehard NASA fans that just think NASA's the greatest thing going. They've all been fed a lie. NASA does nothing but lie and hide the truth from you. That's what they do, right? They don't give you the truth. And that's why. Just look up Jack Parsons.
Yeah. They got to start doing better than weather balloon, though.
Yeah, they've been lying to us since Roswell, so, no surprise
right?
there.
But part of the disclosure now is part of what I've been talking about as well, the 50-year agreement. There was an agreement that within 50 years they were going to disclose UFOs and aliens. That came up in 2019, was the 50th year. So that's why it all started in 2019. They started Pentagon officials coming out and Navy releasing footage, all this sort of stuff came out. That's why, because they'd all agreed to release this information by 2019.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, just we're kind of on the subject. I was just talking with somebody just earlier this week, so it couldn't have been long ago, right? About they are convinced that we will never have a nuclear disaster here because there is a presence, an extraterrestrial presence that seems to, because they understand timelines better than we do. Basically, it's already taken care of.
It is.
It just won't happen. When you see sightings around that, I think we asked you about sightings with the brush fires near your home where you are, but sightings near
a lot of them.
Instances where nuclear armaments are being transported or potentially shot off, and these instances were interfered with. Where they came and not just sightings, but they completely stopped it from having any harmful ability.
And what's your theory on the Watchers, Daniel? You think they're ultimately in control of this universe? That's another question added to that. What Chip is asking.
Yeah. Well, hang on. First of all, there's no aliens stopping the nukes. That was part of that 50-year deal I was talking about. I got a whole video about this. It was based on a presentation I did, which you can see on my YouTube page. No, the whole point of the deal was you humans have to prove to us that you can be responsible enough not to have a nuclear exchange. That's what it was. But there is definitely instances where certain nuclear facilities in the United States and Russia, UFOs showed up and suddenly all their missiles went offline. That was like that was just a demonstration to say this is what we can do. Don't mess with this, right? We're not mucking around. That was really what that was about. Then there was another incident in Russia where they nearly accidentally launched, this is 1983, I think they accidentally launched ICBMs, right? Literally launched them. The poor guys in the control room were freaking out. They didn't touch anything. It just went off by itself. As the missile took off in mid-flight, it froze. It just sat still in midair, and 2 ships came in, and then it just disappeared.
Wow.
And again, it was to show the Russians, this is what we're capable of. Don't mess with us, right?
So
that,
some saber rattling,
yeah.
In other words, stick to the deal.
Exactly.
Because,
Yes, indeed. So what was the other part of the question?
The watchers, Timmy was asking.
Watchers. Well, the watchers, I don't know. Look, there's no one, as in technically, the Palladians are the only ones that really look out for us, if you want to put it like that, right? They've got some allies, of course, that help from time to time, but no one's going to do it for us. They're not here to do it for us. We've got to figure it out ourselves. The only time the Palladians intervene is, like I said, like with the 5G, because there's another million species on this planet that they will not allow to die because of our stupidity, right? They just won't let it happen because they're responsible for the whole planet, not just humans. And the other time is, like I was saying with this mass coronal ejection, if something like that was going to happen, they would stop that. Right. Because they've been nurturing humans for so long. The last thing they want to see is for us to go back to the medieval period, right? That would just be a disaster,
Big
right?
step
So they
backwards.
don't want that to happen. So they're not going to intervene, but they're not going to interfere with wars or with pestilence or with pollution and things like that. Occasionally you'll get other species that'll come in and maybe clean up the water, help out little behind the scenes, help out bits and pieces, but that's their own gig. That's their own sort of experiments they're doing and things like that, or they're trying to gain some good karma, things like that. But these watchers, I mean, they go back to biblical times. I think they've confused them with the Nephilim, which were part of the Anunnaki.
Right.
They left in 638, 635, around then, AD. There was, some of the Anunnaki got left behind because they'd broken the rules. They weren't allowed back on their planet. So, but it was a handful. It wasn't a whole bunch of them. So, I think the Watchers have been mistaken for Anunnaki. That's what I think. And they're not here anymore. So, no, I don't think there's any Watchers. But there's plenty of aliens. There's like 78 different alien species interacting with the planet as we speak.
Yeah, that's what I heard. There's quite a few different species out there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Geez, even here in my home, we got some. Hey, speaking of that, because we're on our path to ascension.
Yeah.
My wife. See now.
You think this is your last lifetime?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the man who got me started.
Yeah.
So I give him all the credit in the world. But we tend to see different types of interdimensional or non-terrestrial things around here.
Yep.
She's more attuned in. She sees some grays from time to time, and Palladian. She's been sending out to these places. She wants to have them show her what their animals on their planet look like.
Right.
But sometimes they appear in different ways. They're sometimes blue or purple-ish. Sometimes they're Nordic-like. In your experience with them, have you ever seen them outside of mind's eye? And if so, how did they appear to you?
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, Palladians don't come from just one planet. They're from multiple dimensions, from multiple planets, right? They've been around for a very long time. They've spread out everywhere. And so depending on what dimension you'll see them from, so the ones I saw were fifth dimensionals, so they were blue, right? Okay. Blue. Extremely tall, like 8-9 feet tall. Long, really straight white hair. They had almond-shaped eyes that were like mauve color, violet mauve color, right? And they're very slim, and I couldn't tell if they were male or female, They were like androgynous sort of thing.
Interesting.
And they always speak telepathically. And that was seeing them in front of me, standing in front of me.
See, that sounds like something I saw, but I would
Yeah.
describe it as a tall white, kind of because of the almond eyes, as you mentioned. It was shamanic in appearance to me. I thought of it as the shamanic being tied in directly to one of my guides. Long story there. Do you want to get into that? But so maybe.
Yeah, but I've always said I'm convinced that the Palladians were the angels of the Bible. Because the people in the Bible days, they didn't know about aliens. They didn't know what they're dealing with, so they called them angels and thought they were from God or something. But I actually think they're Palladians.
Interesting.
We have a being, interdimensional being around here, in my county, and which I've seen, and then I found out later that. A couple years later, that other people have seen it as well. It's probably about maybe 14 foot tall, red eyes, like a football-shaped head, and big gray wings, kind of like a gargoyle. They call it the bump.
Yeah, sounds like a Mothman.
Mothman.
Yeah,
Mothman. But I thought Mothman was up New York State or whatever, upper state New York.
They say it's in West Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia, which is
Virginia.
Yeah,
closer
but
to him than me.
I've seen something similar here. But.
South.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a Mothman to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a dog boy too.
Right? I think Mothman are interdimensional beings. Mm-hmm. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know some guys that did the documentary back there at the time when all this stuff was happening in West Virginia, that the movie was
on the bridge
about. They, spent a lot of time there. Yeah, we've got guys that come on here, Supernatural Realm. Who,
it was definitely like a Mothman.
Do you guys get like Yowie sightings around where you are? Oh, not Yowie, Yetis, Bigfoot.
More him than me.
Northern PA,
Yeah, Pennsylvania's got all the crypto stuff,
Well, it's just interesting because there's been a massive spike in Bigfoot sightings
Western
just
PA,
in the last 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're really active. Yeah, they're really active. I think they're responding to the new energies. That's what I think, right?
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, because it affects all life on Earth is affected by it. See, we're seeing animals now wandering into towns, and just wild animals. Right. Once upon a time wouldn't come near a town. Now they're just coming in towns all across the world, and they're like tame animals, right? And again, I think that's because they're being influenced by this new energy, because we're all part of the one, right? We're all part of the one
source
consciousness. We've just divided. We've just divided into individuals for this experiment. But I think we're all merging back to one. Yeah.
Well, and the planet, because of this energy, just yesterday, the day before, in your neck of the woods, that shift energy,
massive,
changes the game, really.
Oh, I think it's going to get huge in the next month or so. I really do. I
felt great. Usually when there's eclipses and stuff, it overwhelms me. But this particular one, because of that energy in Central Australia, especially.
Well, it was anchored. It was because it was anchored.
Right.
Yeah. It was anchored at Uluru. That was the difference. It finally got anchored. It wasn't just scattered everywhere and wiped everyone out. It got anchored and centralized into a column of light, right? That's why it's different.
Okay. Yeah, thank God for that, too. I figured with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, first since 1982. First since 1518 for, what was it, not Capricorn, right? Capricorn. Whatever sign it's in.
Yeah.
So, and I with the eclipse and everything else, and the gateway, a lot of times and the full moon, that stuff normally kind of wipes me out, but I feel great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wondering if there's anything. Here's a weird question for you. I've got another one that's a line of questioning, but I want Timmy to get a few in. But I since we're talking about things that appear to us, I've got one that is about 11 to 14 feet tall, with a big triangular head, yellow, with a big triangular head. And but because he comes from such a place so far away, and that he is not really fair, because I don't really know if it's he, she, or if there is even. If there's a sexual identity or not. But it seems like it's almost like a hologram that shifts because our planet for him rotates so quickly, that he can't stay here. A moment for him would be about 3 weeks in my time. I asked him for his name. I'm going to say he, it's my misogyny coming out. So there you go. And he said it would take him like 3 weeks. He didn't say, he said it would take him about 3 weeks to give me the full name. And I finally got the full name, but it was 2 syllables. But when he's here, it's like he's shifting in and out of time or space-time, if that makes sense. I call him a golden radiant, a big triangular head. Have you ever seen or heard about anything like that?
I've only heard, I think Linda Moulton Howe in her book, that brilliant 2-book series she's got, and she's got drawings of different aliens. I'm pretty sure she's got triangle heads in there. But what she explained then, that's a classic. You actually are seeing a hologram. He's on his home planet, but he's projecting a hologram to you. And you're correct. I mean, there's some planets, where 1 day is equivalent to 3 years on Earth, and stuff like that. So that's what it sounds like,
Yeah, some of these and light beings and stuff, and these visitations that, she gets different things than I get, but sometimes you get the similar things, but she's been specifically calling out to Pleiadians because it just feels right to her,
I get that. I get people asking me that a lot, like, how can I contact Pleiadians? And basically, you got to meet them halfway. And what I mean by that is, it's not easy for them to come to the 3rd dimension. I mean, the lowest Pleiadians of all are on the 4th dimension. And you think, oh, that's not that far up. Trust me, it is, compared to the 3rd dimension.
Isn't this planet changing, though? We're going 4th to 5th density, but that's not dimension. It's different. But 3 to 4D.
I'll get back to that.
Almost,
I'll get back to that. I'll just finish this. But remind me, otherwise I'll forget. But so now
the Pleiadians. We were talking about the Pleiadians.
The Pleiadians, the Pleiadians.
You got to meet them halfway.
You have to increase your vibration, right? Your resonance. That's what I mean by meeting them halfway. It's very difficult for them to lower their vibration to come here. What makes it easier is if you meet them halfway, right? So imagine a big giant bridge and they walk to the middle of the bridge and you meet them in the middle of the bridge. It's much easier than them having to cross the whole bridge to get to you at the other side, right? So that's what they ask, and that's how I do it. And how do you do that? Through meditation, through daily meditation, cleaning your chakras out, rebalancing your aura, things like that, eating, drinking properly, don't excess in anything, clean living. Then you can raise your vibration. Then you can start to contact them, and they will respond. They will respond. Right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I got a question on Timmy's behalf, though. Because I'm nagging him a lot. To get more into like the meditating and stuff. There's things all around him that are just waiting, like, to get in touch with him. But he's like, okay, not today. The day's coming.
Yeah.
You can maybe see auras, right? Can you see his aura? Anything about his aura that says, damn it, Timmy, start meditating, brother? He's looking.
I'm looking, I got to tune in. But
okay.
No, his aura is just normal. You've just got a normal, everyday aura like I see around a lot of people. But to get a higher aura or a different color and things like that, you got to meditate. You got to raise your frequency. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, Timmy. Chip's got the arms crossed and everything. Yeah, Timmy.
I hear you.
But it's only it's 20 minutes a day. That's all it is. You don't have to go into these hours long things, right? 20 minutes a day. I've got techniques on how to do it in my books and my videos, right? You start a breathing exercise, in through the nose, out through the mouth, push the stomach out and in, things like that.
Yeah.
And after you do it, after you do anything 21 times, it becomes a habit, right?
Mhm.
Literally, that's psychology there. Right? It's habit forming.
It is.
So, I just say to people, look, they've always got time to watch some TV show that they can't miss, Oh,
Right.
sorry, I've got to go because this show's going to start. So if you can find time to watch a TV show or you can find time to do other activities, you should be able to find time to lock in 20 minutes a day for a meditation. And that could be in the first thing in the morning or last thing at night or in the middle of the day. It doesn't matter when. It just matters that you do it regularly.
Okay.
But just getting back to another point, and you're talking about we're merging with the third, fourth, fifth dimensions.
Right.
Not the fifth yet, right? But
No,
the
the
fourth.
fourth to fifth density, but
Yeah.
the third to fourth dimension. I think.
Well, this is what. Remember early in the piece I was talking about that Schumann resonance chart. That's what I think it's showing. Those higher ones above, right? The really high frequency, the third line, I think is the merge. That's what I think. I think those people are merging with the fourth dimension. We can't get to the fifth dimension unless you ascend, right? So it's not like you can even play around trying to get in because you can't. It's blocked. You can't do it. Because to ascend, you have to purge all negative thought, all negative baggage, everything, and just have pure forgiveness and love in your heart. That's the only way you can get into the fifth dimension, right? So all these people on the internet saying we're in the fifth dimension, they're dreaming, right? They're absolute idiots. They got no idea what they're talking. Well, they don't know what they're talking about. They really don't.
Well, it's that law of attraction principle we talk about all the time where, you don't have to do anything. You just think that it's already happened and, whoa, magic. It's like, no, you got to do the work. Right?
You do. You got to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. You got to walk the walk. But we are definitely merging with the fourth dimension now. Not everyone, just those that are in the right frequency.
Okay. All right. So maybe that's why I feel super great on
I'd say so.
Weekend. Yeah. Now for Timmy, and not just Timmy, but some listeners that are like, I don't have time to meditate, but they might have time to be on their phone or computer.
Sure.
There are YouTube videos, and if you're going to be on YouTube in the first place, people, you have to go to the Path to Ascension channel because that's Danny's YouTube channel. Phenomenal information on there. Absolutely go to bat for that. Path to Ascension. But on YouTube, they also have these binaural beat videos. And sometimes they're, binaural beats for psychokinesis or telepathy or, better sleep or lucid dreams or, all these different things. But even just having the headphones on, even if they're doing some stuff where they're saying to themselves, I can't just sit down and relax and do nothing, I got to do something. Even if they play some binaural beats while they're at least living up to their own code, it's kind of this subliminal way to do it without doing it.
It is. Yeah. It is. Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
I think Timmy would like those too. Some of the binaural beat video.
Yeah, just put some headphones on when you go to bed or go to sleep or have a nap in the afternoon. Just put on some headphones, listen to binaural beats, and that's doing half the work for you. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it gets that third eye built up because the dissonance, it's like there's a pure A flat and an A flat that's off by like 0.3. Hertz. Thank you. And because that dissonance hits both sides of the brain, the left brain and the right brain. It's like, remember somebody said that when you're meditating and you cross your arms or cross your legs, it gets both sides of the brain involved. It's just kind of this very easy way to bring your entire brain together. So you've got the logical minded side and the creative sided mind, or spiritual, if you will, coming together. And similar to that, the binaural beats, you can with the headphones, because what it does is it stimulates the pineal gland, but that dissonance, it's like your brain's working even when you're not, if that makes sense. It's like meditating without meditating. So at least, and it's a gentler way to start for people who insist, I don't have time in the day to meditate. I got 3 kids. I got 5 jobs. I got no time for this stuff. But it is a way to at least get started. Just saying.
But those people always have time to trawl Facebook for 40, 50
Yeah,
minutes
right.
a day. Scrolling
If not
through,
longer,
clicking
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's your priorities. It's what your priorities are.
Yeah. All right, Timmy, before I have another line of questioning, but I want you to get some questions in if you have some at the moment.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on crystal children?
Oh, I love crystal children. Yeah. I was skeptical in the early days about them until I met them in real life. And when I met them in real life, it's like, you know, you can't deny it. You just can't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're extremely old souls, like really old souls. Souls that haven't incarnated on Earth for probably millions of years, right? Not thousands, millions.
Mm-hmm.
These guys have been out in the universe doing all sorts of stuff, and now they've all come back home to basically help humans through this next phase of their development. So they are going to be the future leaders and builders and, you know, philosophers and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, they're real.
Yeah. I have
Well, to me too, that they're actually upgrades. Their DNA is upgraded. Is what I call, humans 0.2 sort of thing, 0.20. They got different DNA to us.
yeah. Because I've always felt my little niece was a crystal child because
Yeah.
her intelligence just seems to be much higher than an average person. Even when
Yes.
she
Yes.
talks real fast. Sometimes you can't keep up with what she's saying because her mind's working
Yeah.
faster than she's able to speak. You know, and she kind of
Well, that's
Oh, he froze up on us there. Yeah. Oh, there he is. Yeah, you froze up on us for a moment.
Danny.
There you
sorry.
go. That's all right.
Some-
It's that
some-
energy, man.
Yeah. I speak about crystal children, and he goes. But
Yeah. Basically, what I was going to say was the thing with the crystal children is, you know, the average human might use 10, 15% of their brain.
mm-hmm.
They are now using around 80 to 90% of their brain. They'll never reach 100% because the brain isn't wired for 100%, but they're pretty close. You know, they're as close as you're going to get. So, yeah, it's going to be hard for especially low IQ humans. They won't be able to deal with them. They just won't be able to, you know, talk to them.
Interesting.
They just won't understand them. They just won't be able to relate to them.
Did you ever see that movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson and Morgan Freeman, where Morgan Freeman's this professor, and he said if you use 80 to 90% of your brain, then there's psychokinesis and telekinesis, and you can control what your own cells do, and you have all this different control. So when you say 80 to 90%, you think they could do stuff like that? Or could they do stuff like that and not be aware that they could do stuff like that? Is that also?
Oh, they'll be aware. No, but they'll be aware of it. But to them, it's just like, you know, learning to talk or walk. It's just natural. It's not like they're going to be freaked out.
They don't realize other
people
people can't do it. Yeah, it's just like they assume everybody
exactly.
can. Gotcha.
That's right.
How about people in the autism spectrum? Is it fair to say it could very easily be that they've got some indigo or star?
Yeah, indigo. They're not crystal children, but they definitely are on a different resonance. Like, you know, like dolphins. You know, dolphins are really intelligent, but they communicate on different
levels.
Different levels, right, than what we do. So we think that they can't communicate, but they do communicate, but on a level that we can't understand or intercept, right? Well, it's the same with these autistic kids. I put them in the same sort of sphere as like dolphins, right? That they're highly intelligent, but they're operating on a much higher rate, right? Their brain's processing information at 10 times the rate a normal human does, and so they become overwhelmed, and then so they shut down their frontal lobe, right, or the area of the brain that we usually use to communicate, and they're communicating on a different level. Right. That's all.
If they're all like dolphins, then can we assume maybe that these indigos, you're classifying indigos as different from crystal, and got to ask you about that. But you're saying that if they can, because dolphins can send pictures to one another, you know, they have this electromagnetic grid, or at least the capacity for their brain to use it more than we can.
Yeah.
But if there's indigo children, for example, that may be closer to dolphins than humans brain-wise and how they're wired, would that mean that they also have this additional capacity to manipulate or utilize
Absolutely.
electromagnetic?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But just an experiment you can try yourself if you've got a dog. I do this with my dog all the time. You want to communicate with your dog, project pictures from your head into its head, if you understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand words, right? They don't understand grammar, but what they do understand is a picture of something.
Mm.
If you show them a picture of a dog bowl, they'll start to salivate, and things like that. So what I do with my dog, I project into its head a picture of my kitchen. If I'm in the living room, I don't say go to the kitchen. I'll just put a mental picture of what my kitchen looks like into her head, and 9 times out of 10, she'll trot into the kitchen looking to see what. She doesn't know why she has to go there, but she goes there to go, well, what's yeah, right? And I do that.
It's like my wife has this zen with animals, and oftentimes she'll send colors. She sends blue or pink.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid of her, and they even approach her. We're talking like foxes or, the kind of animals that just won't go near people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I find out with dogs, strangers will be walking their dogs up and down the street, and they see me and they'll like pull their owner toward me because they want to come over and say hi.
Yeah.
They do that all the time with me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, dogs love. But I do too. I have this fascination, and they know it because, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I think a dog picks up and, oh my God, that's a cool looking dog. And the dog says, yes, I like attention. Yes, I like attention. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
But my wife has this crazy zen. I mean, it's next level.
Oh, yeah.
I really rarely, if ever, see anything like that. It's a point with birds, squirrels, deer. I mean, any animals.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to just kind of know this animal is not afraid of you, or it doesn't sense any fear from you. Because you can tell when they sense fear, and a lot of people who are afraid of dogs, the dogs always bark at them because they know, just know. But it's not only that they don't sense that it's a threat, but they approach her too, and that's enormously rare, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Of course, she hates people. She loves animals, hates people.
Yeah. Well, she's mixing with the wrong people.
So indigo and crystal, how would you, if you could express into words how you would differentiate?
Difference, yeah.
Okay, I would express them as a 1968 Camaro and a 1974 Camaro.
Okay.
They're 2 different models, completely look different, completely operate different.
But they're still really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And great for midlife crises.
Yeah, that's right. So that's basically what it is.
Yeah. I found out too with indigo children, especially the autistic ones, where they're in a crowd of people or they're at a family gathering, they can't stay in that space very long because they get overwhelmed and then they have to go run like in their bedroom for privacy or whatever, just because everything overwhelms them so much. Because they're at a higher frequency.
Yeah, well, as I said, because they're processing information at 1,000 times the rate what we normally do. Right. So it does overwhelm them, and their brain isn't capable of actually storing that much information. It's just not. Right, that's where the crystal children come in. They've got an upgraded brain. They can handle it. Mm-hmm. Where the crystal children can't handle it. Their brain isn't upgraded to handle it.
Interesting. Wow.
So they're sort of stuck. Yeah, look, the indigo children were a phenomenon where the souls that came in sort of rushed in a bit.
Yeah.
To put it like that, right? Mm. Where they were told that, hey, look, we don't think the brain's going to be the human brain's going to be capable,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't know. So they just sort of say, well, let's find out, right? And they jumped in, but it didn't work out so well. So it was because of that they realised that humans had to undergo a DNA upgrade, essentially. And so that's what happened. But to do a DNA upgrade, that's not a simple task. It takes a lot of work from a lot of different dimensions and beings and things. But eventually it happened. And now we're seeing the result of that, and that's the crystal children.
Yeah.
So crystal children have upgraded DNA. They can process 10,000 times the amount we can. Indigos can do it 1,000 times what we can. Crystals do it 10,000 times what we can, right? But it's almost like they've got unlimited memory capacity. Think of it like that, right? Unlimited data.
So they would be probably prone to having an extreme anxiety as well because of the energy.
No,
No?
crystal.
Indigo
not at all.
children.
Yeah, indigos, yes, crystal, no.
Okay.
Oh, indigos always have anxiety and problems, and especially with communication and stuff. Yeah, they will. They just don't have the hardware to match the software that they're using, put it like that, right? It's like in the old days of computers, where you had to have a separate graphics card to make a game work. You had to go out and install a separate graphics card. Well, they don't have the graphics card, right? That's the problem. And you can't plug something in. They're stuck with it. So, to be honest, there's not much that can be done for the indigos. If they've got those extreme problems. They're sort of, look, maybe in the future they might come up with something. I don't know. But at this stage, there's not much we can do for them. But the crystal children, no, they don't have anything. They're the exact opposite of anxiety. They're like cool. They're Joe Cool. They're like, hey, man, we've got this sorted. We're like, what's the big deal? What are you adults going on about? What's the problem, man? That's what they're like.
Yeah.
Like my niece always says,
okay,
get
boomer.
over it.
That's probably them saying that. Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
Maybe that came from the crystal kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Not the
niece
snowflakes.
would say, get over it, or Mom, let it go, She just...
Yeah, that's right. Yes, exactly.
There you
Yeah.
go, man.
Chip, you have
Hey,
another
Mike.
question?
Yeah,
Before
actually,
break.
this one, not the line of questioning yet, but this one, a couple from my guides. My guides have questions for you.
Guides.
Because they've been insisting that I don't formally meditate anymore. I have different ways of doing it. You just kind of shut everything down, get all the noise out, and feel. That's it. But formal meditation, to go through the formal stuff, they insist that I don't do that because I use Skype. I have 4 live radio shows a week that I use Skype on, and they believe it would knock the signal out. At least that's what I believe they believe. Does that sound right? Maybe right is overstating, but does that make sense?
No, those of us that have been meditating for a long time, you don't need to go through formal things anymore. It's almost you can just on the spot, I can just about on the spot with my eyes open go into a meditative state, right? That's how easy it's got, but that's because of the new energies.
Yeah.
I don't know about knocking out Skype.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
No, I mean, there's a lot of times, especially, somebody like you, where A, there's that symbiotic energy, and B, there's a lot of stuff around us, each of us, right, individually.
Yeah.
And, so the signal gets all sorts of screwed up and knocks out and all sorts of things or flickers, all that sort of thing. That's the only reason why. They also insist that I don't astral travel. Only because it's not my particular area. There are different places I'm in. All right, the second question from my guides, kind of an unusual one, but you would have the answer to it.
Yeah.
It's come to a point, I mediumistic for a good long while. I was really zoned in, and I had to push that away. But there are times where I will cross over earthbound spirits who need somebody to do it in an unconditional and loving sense. It's not this evil, nasty stuff that you're banishing from the. No, it's people that, for one reason or another, have this problem with it. Something in their belief system doesn't believe that themselves worthy of this, and so I have to help them out with that and cross it. But it's getting to the point where I'm starting to get encouraged, and this to the common listeners may sound pretty crazy, but I got to ask it. Extraterrestrial, there's been some, we talk about time travel, some that made a mistake. They used the wrong system. Maybe they were supposed to go Stargate, but went wormhole and screwed it up. So they're thousands of years into the future, so they have to, reincarnate a few times so this whole thing catches up and they can travel back. I know that sounds kind of crazy. But my question is, I think it's okay for me to begin crossing over extraterrestrial earthbound?
Well, there is no extraterrestrial earthbound spirits. It's only, what's fascinating about humans is that we have souls and auras. We've got the biggest auras because we've got emotional bodies. So even a lot of these higher up aliens don't have the full aura like we do. That's pretty unique to humans, right? That's why they decide to come here. But as for, them having discarnated souls, well, I've never heard of that. That doesn't make sense to me, really, to be honest.
Well, glad I asked the question then.
Yeah.
But, that's the thing about questions. They need to be asked.
No, they do. They do.
I'm the guides down then. Timmy, you got any questions up?
I think we're going to be taking a break here shortly once I get the outro song here for the commercial break. But, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, while you're working on that, we can hang out and talk. Because I got a couple of questions for you. Because you have these books out, the Truth Chronicles, you got the Secrets of the Soul book. Yeah. But you've also got the Secrets of the Illuminati book. And there's a related question that I have for you, a little bit more toward that area that I'll save for after the break. So I just...
Okay. You guys ready to take a break?
We could, brother.
Okay. If any of our listeners has a question for Daniel, the number here in the studio is 724-602-2826. That's 724-602-2826. Or they can Skype me at tim.roxbury1. They have any questions for Daniel during the next hour. So right now we're going to go ahead and take a break. And you are listening to The Supernatural Realm on WCETFM.com. We'll be right back right after this.
You're listening to WCET.FM, talk radio like no other.
God, I love the station.
And welcome back to the Supernatural Realm on WCET.FM. That's www.WCETFM.com. Chip, are you there, buddy?
I sure am, brother. Just unmuting my mic there. And yes, we are back with the absolutely phenomenal Danny Searle as our guest. And boy, we sure love it when he shows up. And again, really, really want to encourage people to find his YouTube channel, Path to Ascension, on YouTube. He's got some wonderful videos on there and just a fountain's worth of information that is really good for everyone. He's also got a website, DannySearle.com. Danny is, of course, D-A-N-N-Y. Searle is S-E-A-R-L-E. Kind of like Sears, the Sears store with an L-E, without an S and an L-E. Probably just easier to spell it. S-E-A-R-L-E, DannySearle.com. And his books, including Ascension, a step-by-step guide, which, boy, we recommend fully and earnestly. And also the Truth Chronicles, Book 1, The Secrets of the Soul, and the Truth Chronicles, Secrets of the Illuminati. He's got more masterpieces coming out soon, on the way, but these are available now. You can find them on the website. You can find them on Amazon and probably some other places too. Danny, where can people find the books aside from the website and Amazon, or is that good right there?
Yeah, well, that's probably the easiest place for people to find them. They are available, in smaller sort of online retail stores. But yeah, I'd just recommend Amazon.
Excellent. Yeah. Really good. All right, Timmy, you got a question?
I was
There
just
you go.
reading an article that was posted on CNN actually today, and we were
Uh-huh.
talking about the sun earlier and how old it is. And I read that there had been stardust found in Australia from a meteorite, and it dated back,
Possibly.
yeah, it dated back billions of years. Did you hear about?
Australia has the oldest geographical rocks in the world,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Yeah. Um, as far as stardust goes, I don't know. We're all stardust. Everything is made from stars exploding. Everything, you know. So everything on the periodic table basically is made from exploding stars. So yeah.
Interesting. There's been an uptick of UFO sightings especially in Australia. Uh,
Yeah.
do you feel that that's related to what's going on with the fires in Australia, or there's no connection at all there?
Uh, I think it's got more to do with the 50-year disclosure that I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just that they just happen to be here during the fires and now they're monitoring them. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. But they're already here.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all got the oldest rocks in the world, and we've got Aborigines who claim that they are the earliest human,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a lot closer to Aborigines than we are, at least
Yeah.
geographically speaking. Any thoughts on their claim on that?
Oh, I know exactly where the Aborigines come from. A lot of them don't like it.
Okay.
It's a long story, but basically, again, we go back to the Anunnaki. They were having a massive war. Now, one of the Anunnaki was called Inanna, right? She's also known as Ishtar.
Okay.
And she was warring against another guy, her cousin, called Marduk.
Mhm.
And so she founded the civilization in the Indus Valley in India, in today what's around modern day India, right? So there was a massive war going on, and I'm talking nukes, you know, nuclear bombs going off and all sorts of devastation. So, of course, all the locals mass migrated out of there. And back then, they could go across almost like stepping stones across, you know, Indonesia and everything, almost all joined up at one point, right? That wasn't all separated. So there was like a natural land bridge.
Hmm.
And so the thing with the Aborigines is when white settlers first came here, there was like 30,000 different dialects, right? Literally 30,000 different dialects. And this is how I can explain it. It's because they never came here as one, you know, big migration. It didn't happen like that. It happened over 1,000 years where, you know, in small family groups or extended family groups would migrate across into Australia and then set up camp in different parts of Australia. So they kept their own language, they kept their own culture, they kept their own everything, right?
Mhm.
And that's what we see with the Aborigines. There's no one Aboriginal culture. There's not. They've all got different rituals, songs, different words, you know, different hunting techniques, different weapons and things. A lot of people don't realise that. So there's not one homogenous Aboriginal culture. There's many, many, many different ones. And when you can look this up on maps of Australia to see where the different tribes were. So they're not really tribes, is probably not a good word to use. It's more like peoples. That's where that group of people that spoke that language and used this clothing and this ritual and this thing, they lived there, and those ones lived there, and those ones lived there, right? So that's really where the Aborigines were displaced immigrants and migrants. But it was probably 50,000 years ago. You know, this wasn't in recent history. But it's also why the Aborigines in Australia, by the time the Europeans got here, they hadn't even invented the wheel, right? They didn't, you know, they were a Stone Age culture essentially. And that's because they kept getting isolated, right? They were displaced from their home in the Indus Valley. they travel all across, this Indonesia. Some would stop in Indonesia, some would keep going, and eventually the ones that made it to Australia had nothing but their clothes on their back, basically, right? They had nothing, and they had to try and eke out an existence in this strange foreign land. So they never got together for long enough to actually start to come up with technologies like the wheel and to get out of the Stone Age sort of thing. They were in the process. I would say give them another 1,000 years, they would have got there. But Europeans turned up instead, and changed everything. So the sad thing, from my point of view, for the Aborigines, Australian Aborigines, is they're like in limbo now. They're not connected to the old ways like they were, and they're not fully integrated with the modern era as well. They're somewhere in between. And for that reason, they're depressed, they turn to alcohol and things like that, much like the American Indians do, the same thing, all the native cultures around the world. I understand that because they've been robbed, essentially, of their home, because they're very spiritual people, right? They're very connected to the land. And you take that connection of the land away, well, they're left without a soul, basically. They're just walking around like empty shells. So really that's where the Aborigines are up until now. But what's been happening since 2012, a lot of them have sought out the old ways, and they've gone back to the old ways now, right? So they're still the minority, but the ones we're talking about that are Iluru, they're very spiritual people, right? They refound their connection to the earth, to the land. So they're back to where they were pre-European invasion, basically, yeah.
Wow. There we go.
Jimmy.
Okay, all right. That's my opening. Okay, so I have this because earlier in the interview,
I got sidetracked, but
we were talking about Illuminati-esque type of things, and we talked about Aleister Crowley and the occult and all the things. He was really kind of up front with it. He was out there with it, not afraid to keep it to himself. He was out there with it. So, like you said, he was like this billboard poster boy, for the Illuminati. My question has to do with Freemasons. Now, I've got a buddy who's a Freemason.
We've got a lot of them here.
He's got some really interesting stuff with regard to Freemasonry. And he also believes, and I'm going to pose this question to you once we get past the initial stuff, that he does believe that not only are some reptilian civilizations here, they're underground. And so we really don't see them. And I think there's an amazing amount of space underground, further than we've been able to dig, that have existed for a long time, perhaps even longer than us. And interesting speculation on that. I was kind of thrown off guard that the Freemason guy believes, this underground reptilian civilization. That's pretty cool. But I'm mixed, and I know you have the answer for me. Because I watch these things about the Illuminati, some of these TV documents on the history, or I see them on YouTube, or some of the other channels. And it's very hard to find documentaries about the Illuminati that are similar to the others. They all have different information, but they all seem to tie Freemasonry into this Illuminati stuff. And I know a lot of Freemasons that say, well, that's kind of coincidental because of, it's like saying not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslim type of idea. That not all Freemasons have anything to do with the Illuminati, but the engineering and the science and the sacred geometry and everything had a lot to do with what they represent in this Illuminati thing. So maybe it's a coincidence, but it doesn't really tie in. Is there kind of a direct tie-in, or you think the Freemasons, especially in these documentaries I see, are they getting a bad deal here, having this tie-in, or is it justified that all these documentaries are lumping them in with this?
Yeah, well, okay, first of all, your average Freemason of, say, the third degree, that's just your average Joe Blow guy. He's not into all this occult Illuminati stuff. And at that level, it's like an old boys club, right? Where you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. They look out for each other, right? And they do some good charity work as well.
Yeah, it's a real brotherhood. Brotherhood.
Yeah,
Real brotherhood.
right. But what happens is when you get to the third degree, you're sort of asked a question after that. And just for an example, they don't literally say this, but I just want to give you an example, right?
Sure. Please.
They'll say to you, oh, would you ever, urinate on a crucifix? Right? And if the person says, yeah, well, that wouldn't bother me, they'd say, oh, hey, come over here. We've got some stuff we want to teach you, right? But if you say, no, that's offensive, that's disgusting, they go, oh, thank God, right? We just wanted to make sure you weren't one of them, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, well done. Here's a promotion. We're going to make you the leader of this district, right? And you're left there. You're left there for the rest of your life. You get the gold watch after 50 years, And
but you're not linked to this secret club.
Exactly. But the guy that said he would do it, he's now taken to the high levels. So by the time you get to the 19th degree, they are literally having to invoke demons. That's what they have to do to pass the 19th degree. They do the same at the 29th degree. They have to invoke an even higher demon, and these come from the Keys of Solomon. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, big, but, Solomon. Solomon's temple, and big.
Yeah. Right? He literally wrote the book. The Keys of Solomon, on how to invoke demons, what symbols to use, what incantations to use. And that was lifted holus bolus by the Freemasons and incorporated into their doctrine. See, what the Freemasons do, they sort of borrow stuff from every religion and creed and whatnot, but they're very heavily based in ancient Egypt, which means that's Anunnaki Marduk, right? Marduk was the boss of Egypt. Marduk was Amun-Ra. That's who he was, right? Amun-Ra, the god, was Marduk, the Nibirubian, Anunnaki.
No kidding.
Right?
Wow.
No kidding. So every time you see something like the Golden Dawn, Temple of the Golden Dawn, heavily influenced by ancient Egypt. The Thoth Society, heavily influenced by ancient Egypt. Freemasons, all heavily influenced by ancient Egypt. That's because they revere Marduk. And Marduk was the Illuminati's god, if you like. He's not really a god, but they treat him like a god, sort of thing, right? But there's a long story with Marduk. He's now trying to do the right thing. I don't want to get sidetracked. But the point is, you would have heard of Adam Weishaupt, right? Adam Weishaupt. He founded the Illuminati back in the day. And he was already a member of the Freemasons. And at that stage, everyone was a Freemason, right? They had lodges all over Europe. If you're in business, you had to be a Freemason sort of thing to make it, right? So you just sort of by default. So he realised that the Freemasons had this massive network and a lot of people. So he joined it as a means to disseminate his Illuminati teachings, right? His Illuminati stuff. But as it turns out, the old story goes, they got busted by the government because they were going to overthrow the governments of Europe, right, and implement this new world order. And they got caught out. And, supposedly got shut down. It didn't get shut down. It just went underground, right? Yeah. That's all it did. Where the Freemasons had to bear the brunt then of, being the public figure of all this stuff, secret societies and things like that, right? So, on the one hand, the Freemasons, the lower levels, do cop a bad rap, but on the other side of the coin, they deserve everything they get because they are literally trying to take over the world. They are literally invoking demons, right? They're up to no good. They're up to no good.
Daniel, I'd seen a documentary on one of the cable channels. I can't remember at the time what channel it was on or what even documentary show it was, but they had said that the layout of Washington, D.C., with the Capitol, the White House, and different buildings is
now
connected to the Illuminati symbols.
Well, it's in the Freemasonry and the Egyptian symbology because they've got
because of the founding fathers were involved with that as well.
Oh, they were. All the founding fathers were Freemasons. But
Right.
as I was saying before, like in those days, to be in the who's who, you had to be a Freemason, right? You
Right.
just did. Otherwise, you didn't
Yeah,
get
especially
business
back
done.
then. Yeah.
It's we would, in today's terms, we would call it like unions. Unionized companies. You can't
Right.
get work unless you're in a union, right? It was like that. You couldn't get anything done unless you're a Freemason, sort of thing. So when the founding fathers in America, they were all Freemasons. They set up the layout of Washington D.C. as per occult symbolism and stuff
Right.
like that. But they were doing it as they called it the New Atlantis. They thought that they were setting up the New Atlantis because they knew all about Atlantis. A lot of their doctrine comes from Atlantis, right? So they literally, and they talked openly about that, about this New Atlantis and everything. So they thought, and they were doing work of the light. They were the light workers of their day. But of course, every time a light worker shows up, there's a dark side will show up to shut it down.
Right.
And that's what happened. So that's every time you see these presidents assassinated, because they are game changers, right?
Right.
So Lincoln freed the slaves
Ronald
and all
Reagan.
that sort of stuff, right? And wanted to bring about equality and stuff. Oh, we can't have that. We've got to get rid of him. Kennedy came along. He was going to break up the CIA. Still giving us trouble today, right?
Yeah.
Plus civil rights, really. I mean, if
Yeah.
you think about that.
Well, he had a triple banger, actually. He was civil rights, the UFO disclosure, because he was going to tell the world about Roswell. Plus, he wanted to get him out of Vietnam, right? So he had a few things going against him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wait. Eisenhower was into that stuff and had thought about that too, because Eisenhower was really into that sort of thing. So why does Kennedy get killed and not Eisenhower?
Because Eisenhower was a general and Kennedy's not. Simple as that.
He was going to expose everything.
Eisenhower played ball right up until the end, and it wasn't until his final speech, and he warned us about the military-industrial complex. That was enough to almost get him killed, but because he was a general, highly respected, he was a game player, right, team player, they let it go, but they sort of said to him, keep your effing mouth shut from now on, otherwise you're gone. And he did. And he did, but
He did. Yeah.
where Kennedy didn't. Kennedy, because he was emboldened by his brother Bobby. Bobby was a real go-getter. So Bobby was egging him on, basically, and that's why he got taken out as well, right? But Bobby was egging him on. He wasn't a general, so, yeah.
But you mentioned that he was thinking about breaking the CIA up, and again the brother comes in because he's big with that. But they were also going after the mafia, the mobsters, right? And sleeping with their girlfriends and wives and stuff, and so there are people that say that's what got him killed ultimately. But would you agree with that? That it's the mob, not the CIA?
No, they used the mob to hire the hitman to take him out, yes. That's where the mob come into it. Joe Kennedy, which was, John Kennedy's father, he was deeply involved with the Chicago mob, deeply. And in fact, it was the Chicago mob that won Kennedy the election in Chicago, Illinois, in that area. So they sort of felt like Kennedy owed them something. So when Bobby started going after them, they're like, hey, we got you elected.
Yeah, what's up with this? We got you in.
Yeah, but John was saying, no, my father did that deal with you. That had nothing to do with me, right? So that's where that came into it. So that's the CIA knew about that little spat, so they exploited it. So the whole thing was basically set up by the CIA. Lyndon Johnson knew all about it. He wasn't technically involved with it, but he knew about it because they approached him and they said, if we do this, A, will you keep your mouth shut? B, are you willing to be the next president and do what we tell you to do? And he went, of course I will, right? He was a very ambitious man. So he did it. He was at a party. He held a celebration party the night before the assassination, invited J. Edgar Hoover to it, who testified that he was walking around at this party bragging about, this time tomorrow, I'm going to be president,
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So it was the CIA. It was the CIA that orchestrated it. They used the mob to hire the hitman, and they set up, what's his name, the Patsy guy.
Oh yeah. Geez, I can't think of it either. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Lee
And
Harvey
then they
Oswald.
had the guy, Lee Harvey Oswald. And then they had the Ruby guy shoot him in front of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Because, Ruby was dying of lung cancer, right? Yeah. So basically, he had massive debts through his gambling and stuff like that. He had massive debts. And he said, he took the fall. He said, look, I'm dying of cancer anyway. As long as you cancel my debts and make sure my family get looked after, I'll take the fall for this. And he more or less admitted to that while he was in prison. And then, he only lasted a few years in prison, then he died of cancer. So, and he got what he wanted. That's why he did it. Yeah.
All right, here's another random question that you can answer for me. All right. The Bilderberg or Bilderberger, I'm not even sure which one.
Bilderberg.
Bilderberg. What's the difference, if there is any, between Bilderberg Group and Illuminati? Or is
Big difference. The Bilderberg Group is a steering committee. They're a steering group. They're part of what we call the round tables, and there's many round tables throughout the world at different periods in history. Some are more influential than others, right? But the Bilderbergs are they're a steering committee. They're made up of Illuminati as well as what we call the Committee of 300, right, which is a long story. But they're the Committee of 300, that's who runs the world, literally the bureaucrat that run the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're part of the Committee of 300, which does have members, overseers of the Illuminati. Illuminati are the priest class, right? They're not the bureaucrats. Bureaucrats are New World Order. That's who we call the New World Order people. Now they call them deep state, right, whatever.
Yeah.
But they're the bureaucrats. The Illuminati are the priest class. So they do organise the rituals and when to do false flag events and all that sort of stuff. They calculate all that and do all that. Then they work in conjunction with the Mothers of Darkness Coven out of Belgium, right? There's a chapter in America, of course. Doris Duke was the last high priestess. She passed that on to Madonna, the performer Madonna, who then, and then she tried to pass it on to Britney Spears, but she had a blue screen, what we call a blue screen, like her brain just went bzzz, and she shaved all her hair off and everything. Yeah, because for the Mothers of Darkness, they've all got to have straight, long, blonde hair. They believe it helps their psychic ability. And
Taylor Swift is
and it's
probably
based
one.
on their goddess. Sorry?
Taylor Swift is probably one of them.
She's now converted to it, yes, she has. She's gone full-blown into the Luciferian stuff, So, that entertainment industry, we refer to that as the Luciferian agenda, but it's Illuminati, right? It's driven by the Illuminati. All the social engineering, that comes from the Tavistock Institute in England, right? They're the ones that dictate. So they're the ones pushing this, this transgender thing at the moment and all that sort of stuff, the social stuff that's going on, the big changes we're seeing, that all comes out of Tavistock. And it's disseminated through the different countries via embassies and things like that and implemented then via their whole media, because that's what the media are. They're just arms of the Illuminati. That's all they are,
Yeah, we've been trying to change the message a little. I'm really happy to be here doing stuff like that, where people don't have to be scared to death for 2 hours at a time,
No, that's right.
That's a good thing. Boy, I had a question. I can't think of what it is. The entertainment and the media. I don't know. I drew a blank. Tim, you want any Illuminati questions?
I was looking at something on online where Taylor Swift was part lizard because of her eyes.
I see that a lot too. There's this reptilian thing where they show pictures of the Queen or Beyonce or George W. Bush or all these different all these different people that and the thing is, it's a camera. If the camera kind of freaks out and it changes the dimensions of a person's face, it doesn't mean that they're shape-shifting in plain sight. At least I have a hard time with that personally.
No, there's definitely times where they they take out, and I'm not saying this about Taylor Swift. I don't think she's a lizard. I think she's just bought into the whole
Yeah.
Illuminati,
Right.
live forever.
I
Live
even think
forever
she
fantasy,
admitted she
right?
was, didn't she? She was involved with that?
She what?
I
And
even
what?
think she admitted publicly that she was involved with the
I'm not
Illuminati and all
sure.
that.
Wow, really?
Oh, I just know to see her. I've seen pictures of her with her hand over her eye. That's a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
If they end up with a black eye or a red eye, that's a dead giveaway. That's part of a ritual initiation thing that they
This
do.
thing with the triangle.
Yeah, the triangle hands. Yeah, that's all the
I've
symbolism
seen
to say, hey,
Jay-Z and Beyonce, a lot of these.
yeah.
I
But I
didn't
was
know
going
if
to
that
say,
was like a West Coast rap thing.
no, that's
Just
an
an
Illuminati
entertainment thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you now, if you want a book, the best book ever that I've ever seen in my life was by Tex Mars, and it's called Encoda Magica, I think it's called. I'll have to look it up, but it's basically got every single symbol of the Illuminati, the Freemason handshakes, you name it, it's got it in there. Everything you'll ever need to know about symbols and stuff like that.
Wonder if he's
it's a really
related
good book.
Wonder if he's related to Jim Mars at all.
No, he's
no,
not.
because Jim Mars, I loved that guy. I miss him.
I love him too.
He was like my dream get, and I never had a chance to have him on the show. I always wanted to, but he would, because he went to journalism school, and that was his big story. And he became so disconcerted with the journalism industry, and how he's searching for the truth, and you can't tell the truth. And it was like that movie, the Legend of Liberty Valance. That's it.
Yes.
At the end of this fit, Liberty Valance is this like kind of OK Corral legendary gunsman, and this reporter is following him around, and he discovers over time that all these legends about Liberty Valance are just stories, they're kind of hyping up the actual information, which is not nearly as interesting as these stories are. And Liberty Valance says to the reporter at the end of the movie, if the story is not as interesting as the legend, print the legend. It was kind of almost a satirical but right on kind of thing about the journalism industry that Jim Mars got really upset about. So Jim Mars started seeking the truth about things, the truth behind the truth, to get the deeper side of the stories. Yeah.
Yeah, he started with the JFK assassination, like looking into that. That's what really kick-started his career.
Into Monoatomic Gold, too, when I caught on with him. Yeah, that was something. And, and you knew that this story was going to have good care behind it if Jim Mars was on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I got all the respect in the world for Jim Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, big hero of mine. God bless him. God rest him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could have had him on at some point. Would have been nice. Do you think, because... I think you were one of the people that sent that flyer to me about the Ascension energy in Central Australia that occurred just over this past weekend. And because it mentions that on our way to this golden age, and it's something that has been with the Aborigines since dream time. It's almost like all this thing about the Mayan calendar and the end of the Mayan calendar in December 2012. This is more like an Aborigine Dreamtime thing come true, over the weekend, January 12th of 2020. And that this is supposed to be the path to the planet's perfection. And anything that it doesn't fit in with that perfection, you will see the system starting to fall apart. Not to mention right on Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which kind of dots the I on that. Do you think that this new energy will have any kind of impact on Illuminati systems? Taking that expression from the flyer and putting it into that context?
Yes, because the Illuminati can't resonate at the higher frequency. That's their whole downfall, right? That's why they've been trying to block it, stop it, everything they can to avoid the ascension they're doing, because they can't come with us, they can't follow, and they realize that that's a major stumbling block, right? the one thing they fear, they'll tell you they fear nothing, but I know for a fact the one thing that they fear is the light, right?
Mm.
Because they can't even look at the light without it hurting their eyes. It's as simple as that,
Interesting.
right? So, yeah, this new energy, absolutely, we're going to see these organizations collapse.
Mhm.
They're literally going to collapse, and their stronghold on the earth is going to collapse. And then you tie that in with the breaking down, destroying the draconian grid around the planet,
Mhm.
and then putting in a positive one. Things are just going to get more and more and more positive. They just will.
Yeah. No, when you
it's
put
not
it
going
that
to
way.
happen overnight. Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's definitely going to happen. You'll look back in 12 months and go, oh, my goodness, look at that. That's collapsed. That's collapsed. That's collapsed. Like bad things,
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, just look at the royal family at the moment. They're in shambles. They're all over the
Shambles.
place.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Who would have saw that coming?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I just read a few minutes ago where they felt forced to leave. I don't know, how accurate that is, but
No,
Well,
it's all
it's from their
horrible
point of
Markle
view.
woman.
oh,
It's
okay.
that horrible Markle woman. She's a
Yeah,
gold digger.
Yeah. Well, the British tabloids are ruthless on her, especially at the moment, because they're basically calling these two kids spoiled brats.
Oh,
They are.
They don't want to carry the load. They don't want to do the work. It's like,
Right.
come on now. And the irony is, the British people are paying for it. They're the ones complaining.
yeah.
Damn, you mean we don't have to pay for this anymore? Shame on them. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
You can't blame
Well,
them in a way
that
for wanting to
Harry
leave.
is not Charles's son anyway.
Exactly.
We all know that.
Exactly.
Oh,
He's
dude.
not royalty anyway.
And the thing is, right, the royal family are up to their eyeballs in Nazi stuff. Like, they got a history with the Nazis. And if you notice, it was Harry that when he was 16 or 17, he went to a
That's
fancy
right,
dress
at the
party
party,
in
yeah.
a Nazi uniform. That was
Right.
his way of thumbing his nose at them, saying, I know all about you guys.
I
You can't
think-
tell me to shut
I
up.
think
Right?
Harry knows that he's not part of the royal family.
No,
He-
they do. But they were hoping he would just keep it to himself. But I think he holds that above their head. That's why he's
Well,
Right.
pushing them at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not old history, but it's not that it's not that new, but it's not that old. Where in the early 1900s, late 1800s, the leaders of Germany, Russia, Belgium,
All
Greece, they were
Yeah.
all offspring of Queen Victoria
Hmm.
Victoria, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
from the
Yeah.
what is it, Schatzberg Gotha. I can't remember. But they
yeah.
changed it to Windsor. It was King George V that
King
changed the name
George,
to
yeah.
Windsor because of following World War One. But
Yeah.
the guy who really started they started World War One because their cousin, who was running Germany, Heimlich something. Wilhelm. Yeah, thank you.
Kaiser Wilhelm. And it was
Wilhelm.
Saxe-Coburg Gotha.
Saxe-Coburg
Gotha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of close there. Yeah, but they were related.
Remember I was talking about.
And
Sorry. Remember Adam Weishaupt? Adam Weishaupt. Where
Yes.
did he end up? What happened to him? Oh, he ended up retiring in a house and looked after, paid a money to keep him in the house of Saxe-Coburg Gotha.
Wow.
Look it up. That's
Yeah.
where Adam Weishaupt retired to. That family looked after him
And
kept him.
the big thing was in World War One there were these bombs that were called Gotha. They called them. They named these bombs, and it coincidentally, it was the same partly last name, the family line of Queen Victoria.
That's right.
Because they were all related. The Russian Tsar, the German, they were all related. And that's only like 8 generations ago, something like that. That's not really that long ago.
World War One is after World War One. They redrew the map of Europe, and all those monarchies were gone. There was only like 3 left standing, And that's when you were talking about Bilderberg earlier. Bilderberg was founded by Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands and Prince Philip, basically, of Saxe-Coburg Gotha. Yeah.
Wow.
That's who founded Bilderberg. And what's interesting is Prince Philip of the Netherlands. He was an SS officer. He was a major in the SS during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the 1950s that they formed Bilderberg. So Nazism just morphed into the EU. What we see as the EU at the moment, that was the Nazi dream. That's what they wanted. One Europe, one currency, one religion, one everything, in this giant bureaucracy controlling it all, unelected bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
So really, the EU is an extension of the Fourth Reich.
New World Order.
And Bilderberg is just an arm of that Fourth Reich, wanting to control the world. Yeah.
Right. And that's tough. We're living with a last name named Reichenthal that nobody could ever spell. Because I have to say, how do you spell? Well, Reich, like the Third Reich. And I have to bring up that comparison, or the Fourth Reich,
Yeah.
Not my favorite place to go. It's my name.
Say now, but
it means rich
America,
in Austria.
Probably in about 1905, I think it was something like 60% of Americans spoke German, right? Because there were so many German families that moved there.
Oh.
And then overnight, when America got into the war, they had to demonize. See, the media had to demonize Germans. So all these Germans started anglicizing their names and changing their names and stopped speaking German, and all this sort of stuff. They copped a terrible time.
Yeah,
and
same with Great Britain, because they changed from Saxe-Coburg to Windsor. Yeah.
Which was the castle. That was a castle. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and it really isn't that long ago. But you mentioned, and I asked you that, that this energy and how it might affect the Illuminati. Your answer made sense. I have this thing in my guide system. I wanted to tell you about it. It's kind of neat. It's this dark mist, similar to the energy that is talked about where shadow people are brought up. It's that kind of dark.
Yeah.
But it is, at least according to my guide system, it is this non-terrestrial energy, civilization, if you will, that are here to study emotions. You mentioned that humans have this emotional body, this soul. Well, that kind of highlights the point, because most people will absolutely refuse to believe what I am told is that not only does this energy feed very negative systems between living people and spirit, negative household, takes the negative energy and the dysfunction of the living and the dysfunction of the non-living and kind of bundles it all, snowballs it up together so they can study this. Because they take things to the extreme, but they're also in supremely loving places too.
Right.
But they have this bad rap because, they're always lumped in with evil. They're always lumped in with demonic stuff. But it is this non-terrestrial energy that is here to study the extremes of our emotional base. And that includes the love-based side, not just hate or fear, but love too. So they go to very loving houses and they snowball that as much as they can and learn from that. And I've been indicated that if I come across people that will ultimately mean me harm or mean harm to my personal path, I will be able to see that in their eyes or around their aura, this dark mist. So I'll know they're kind of keeping me protected. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, Earth is one of the rare planets where there's this really obvious dichotomy between light and dark. Mm-hmm. So that's why aliens are fascinated with it, right? And it was set up that way. Earth is essentially, this galaxy is essentially a hologram built for an experiment. It's a long story. We haven't got time to go into it now, but that,
so you'll have to come back sometime.
Yeah, but that ties into that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. Yeah, and I have a guide system. 4 of the guides are tied into the sun god Ra, which I never understood why. I also have this new guide system that includes Anunnaki. So it begs the question, as far as you're concerned, there's good Anunnaki and Bad Anunnaki, yes?
Absolutely there is. Yeah, Enki, who is the god Anunnaki, he created humans with his son Nigashita, and they were totally on our side. Absolutely. Same with his half sister that helped create humans, Ninmar or Nigashita. She also was very pro-human. There's a lot of pro-human Anunnaki. There was actually less of them that were anti-human, that were nasty to us. They were in the smaller group, actually.
Daniel, we're going to have you back on. We're just scratching the surface on us. We could easily do 5 hours.
Yeah.
See, Chip, we should have done late night in the Midlands.
On for late night, yeah, right.
Because if we could easily fill
just
3 hours, it's 3 of us
Yeah.
here.
Well, just quickly, if I could just put it in, I am planning at the moment, I'm working on it right now, what I'm calling the complete history of the Anunnaki, right?
Really?
From when they started on their planet right through to when they left this planet and the influence they've had on this planet ever since they left, right?
Wow.
That's going to be a presentation I'm going to be doing in several locations around Australia. I haven't got dates or anything yet because I'm still literally working on it, but I'm looking at around April, mid-April and stuff like that. And I hope to live stream it as well. So
Cool.
just to let you know, for people that are interested in this whole Anunnaki story, I've got it all, right? I've got it all. And
I am. Yeah, I'm a.
Yeah.
And you could come back and promote. You could Supernatural Realm and Kindness Beyond the Veil.
Anytime.
Promote it when these
Love
dates
to
are
have you
coming,
back.
so we can make sure that the world is aware of when you're going to be there, Danny Searle.
Awesome. Sure.
Meantime, Path to Ascension, the channel on YouTube. It's a must. It's an absolute must. Oh my goodness, the information on that is stunning. I mean, this was my guy. He inspired my Path to Ascension. So naturally, I'm going fully to bat for him. Path to Ascension channel on YouTube and DannySearle.com for the books, for information, for extra things. Anywhere else people can find you and your books and all that good stuff. Danny Searle.
Oh, that's probably it. Unless you come to one of my live gigs and I sign the books for you. Those
Okay,
ones.
cool. Yeah. Well, give us time, man. We'll make it.
Any trips to America, Daniel?
Well, that's the whole thing. I am possibly. It's nothing is set in stone at the moment, but I am maybe looking in May, being in the United States. But don't hold me to that yet.
Okay.
It's just it's up and it's there, but it's not solid yet.
All right. Well, cool. You're on our neck of the woods. Well, it'll be easier to get to you that way.
Yeah.
Danny Searle, DannySearle.com, Path to Ascension on YouTube. Shameless self-promotion for Kindness Beyond the Veil right here, Mondays, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Mike Shabasi, actually, the early show, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern on uprmtalkradio.com. 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, Jean Claire Broda. That's next Monday. And 2 Mondays from now, Gregory L. Little on the 2 to 4 p.m. show. And Terry Reichenthal will be my honored guest for the 7 to 9 p.m. WCET-FM show, and she hates people. So this is going to be cool. It's like the anti-Chip. Here, Chip, my beautiful wife of 32 years. Yeah. Timmy.
Thursday, we're going to have Mr. Lang on. We're going to talk about all things.
Stephen Lang.
Stephen Lang, yes.
Yeah. They do films in the North Carolina neck of the woods, and most, if not all, of their productions and films, donations go to veterans. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people who bravely served our country. So God bless him.
So we're going to talk about his latest projects he's been on. He's been here before, and what he's been up to the last. Couple few months, whatever. But we got to go. Daniel, we got to have you back on. I think these 2 hours went real fast, and too bad we're not the one late night in the Midlands with you. But we could easily cover that.
Yeah, now we regret.
Now I got 8 cups of coffee, But we
all right. Now he's got the coffee, All right, believe me.
All right, Daniel. Thank you for coming on. We'll have to have you back, and up next.
My pleasure. Always happy to talk to you guys. No problem.
Love you, man.
It's a great time. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Up next, Late Night Midlands with the great Michael Vera. I think he has a recorded show tonight because he's in the process of moving. But he'll be back live tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern to midnight. He'll be back.
But still, it's worth a listen, so don't touch that dial. And please subscribe or donate to this network right at WCETFM.com. That beautiful yellow button, you just click on it and donate or subscribe. We certainly could use the help.
Good night, everybody.